All right, time to talk some basketball. Stephen Pearl going to join us in just 1 second. The Auburn Associate Head Coach with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Apologies for the delay there, Coach. Hope you're doing well today.
All good, fellas. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome. Thanks a lot. I know it was a disappointing loss. Your BP did not like it being characterized as a demoralizing loss. So can you also comment on that? You know, it was just you caught Kentucky on a really, really good night.
Yeah, I mean that. If they played like that every night, you know, with that effort and that energy, you know, they'd be a lot better than 18-7 right now. You know, obviously, just looking at their film from this year, like, you know, they haven't played that inspired all year. And credit to them for really turning it on these last two games. You know, we caught them at a bad time. You know, they guarded at a different level than they had been all season. If they continue to do that, they're going to continue to win games, because if you just look at that roster, you know, they have 6 or 7 guys that are NBA players on that roster, and we may have one. So, you know, hats off to them. They came in and played really hard. You know, it's just a matter of if they can consistently do that game in and game out. You know, obviously their results will yield much more positive than what they've been. So, but with all that being said, you know, we held a team that averages 90 points a game to 70. So defensively, I thought we did a pretty good job of guarding them, keeping them out of transition, turned the ball over a little too much, but like we've talked about week in and week out, you know, when we miss wide open shots, we're going to have a hard time winning basketball games. And, you know, if you 4 for 22 from three and, you know, watching the film multiple times, you know, I would say of the 18 misses, 10 of them no one was within a couple feet of our guys. So our guys have got to step up and make those shots for us to win big games like that.
Hey, the sad reality when a major piece of a team goes down with an injury, the automatic fan reaction is, oh my God, our season is over. But when you guys are, and obviously Jaylin, the situation isn't as bad with the injury. It looks like he's going to be able to come back. But initially it looked like it could be really bad. And when a player goes down, the perspective of a teammate, a coach, what is that initial feeling when you see that and you think this guy could be done for the year?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have time to let that set in until after the game. So, like, while we're in the heat of the moment, it's about trying to figure out who we want to put in next, what the rotations look like, what adjustments do we have to make with Jaylin not being in the lineup for this game. In the moment, unless you, like, know for a fact that, you know, obviously he's out for the year, like, you don't really, like, worry about that in those situations. You kind of just have to get on to the next play. You know, obviously it was a huge hit for us because, you know, he goes up, you know, tries to make that play, obviously gets fouled, should have been at the line for 2 free throws, and Kentucky then proceeds to go on a 9-2 run. So it really kind of sucked all the energy out of the building, you know, when that happened. There were multiple swings in that game that kind of didn't go our way, but that was a big one because, you know, obviously 2 free throws right there, I think would have cut it to 5 or to 3. And, you know, we'd had a little momentum going, and then Kentucky, you know, was able to kind of seize momentum moving forward. So, you know, obviously we have a ton of confidence in Chaney Johnson to be able to step in to those minutes and finish the game. And, you know, I think the biggest thing is our depth's been our biggest strength this year. And it's something that's going to have to carry us while Jaylin's out. You know, obviously I'm thrilled for Jaylin because, you know, he's such an amazing kid and he's contributed so much to this program that, you know, that's not a season ending, but even like a 6 or 8 month deal to where after the season, he's not able to at least get ready for the next level. So, you know, obviously the news that we got out of his MRI couldn't have been any better. You know, obviously would love to have him back this year, but more so just thankful that it wasn't more serious than what it actually was.
A few more moments with Stephen Pearl, Associate Head Coach, Auburn Basketball, on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. So with all that said, good time or bad time for the midweek bye, do you think?
I mean, good time just because, you know, if you look at our last 8, like we've played 6 quad 1 games in our last 8. And just to like put that in perspective, Kentucky's played 4 of their last 8 in conference, and Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and South Carolina have played 3 quad 1 games in their last 8 games. So, you know, we've played twice as many quad 1 opportunities as 4 of the 5 teams that we're competing with at the top of our league. So we just went through a ridiculous gauntlet of a schedule. And, you know, South Carolina, who was ranked 11th at the time, wasn't even a quad 1 game. So 7 of our last 8 games have been just, you know, pretty ridiculous. So, you know, our guys needed a time to kind of obviously get healthy, rest up a little bit, and get prepared for the next one. But, you know, unfortunately, Jaylin getting hurt, you know, that obviously hurts us a lot. But for it to happen on a bye week, it at least gives you another couple days to, mess with lineups and figure out who we're going to play behind Chaney and how we're going to do that. So it happened at a good time considering the circumstances, because it allows us a little more time as coaches to prepare for what it's going to look like without Jay Will these next 5 games.
Stephen, every time we have you on, or we have Nate Oates or Andy Kennedy, you guys are always looking at your sheet next to you. And analytics and metrics have become so important in the game. And if you go back to when your dad was, even at Tennessee, I don't think they were nearly what they are right now. How much more beneficial is it to have that right there?
Yeah, no, I mean, it helps because it paints a picture for us, or for me as a coach, just to understand, obviously what we've been doing and what's been effective, what's not been effective. And, I think, the film and the numbers just don't lie. So it's really, been a big part of, what we do day in and day out. And it really helps us kind of explain to our kids, how to prepare and how to beat opponents. But yeah, like when I was at Tennessee, like it was just the box score, who scored the most points and who scored less points, and, figure it out from there. But Coach Golden at Florida was the one that kind of got me involved and really into the deep dive analytics, and we've kind of been bought into it ever since. And it just kind of helps us get prepared for games, and obviously explain to our guys, what we have to do to be successful. And, obviously what has hurt us game in and game out when we've had some of our tougher stretches.
Is there an analytical trend you're most proud of, or one that disappoints you or upsets you the most?
I mean, I would say that the biggest thing for us has just been, minus the Florida game, like our defensive effort, has been what's kept us in games. You look at our three of our road losses, or 3 of our losses in conference play, Alabama, Mississippi State, Kentucky, like we guarded pretty well in all 3 of those games, and at least gave us a chance to hang in there and be in those games. The only game that we didn't play well, and I just talked to Coach Golden on the phone, and he was saying, we played our best game of the year, you guys, when we played them at Florida. For the most part, though, our defense has kept us in games. So that's probably what I'm most proud of. We're 4th in the country in defensive efficiency. But obviously, the one stat that we're most disappointed in is our shooting in games that we've lost games. And we looked at how we constructed this roster in the offseason, and we brought in guys that are capable of going and beating South Carolina by 40. At home, and then obviously having games where we struggle to shoot the ball. So we just got to find a little more consistency from 3. It's not like last year's team where it just kind of wasn't there throughout the season. Like we've shown games where, making double-digit threes is a pretty easy task. And then we'll have games where we just, we don't shoot it very well. So we got to find a way to be a little more consistent in our 3-point shooting and being able to knock down open shots.
So if you're keeping score at home, you've called Florida's best game and Kentucky's best game is what we think here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, it may not have been Kentucky's best game, but it was by far their best effort of the year.
Yeah.
And anyone that sits down and watches basketball, will tell you that. Like they played inspired. They were like they played like they had to win that game. And I don't think our guys didn't play that way. I think our guys played really hard in that game. But I think 2 of our 4 losses in conference play, like we probably got their best shot. But that's what's going to happen, when you're ranked, when you're at the top of the league. Alabama and South Carolina experienced it with us most certainly when we beat them by 40. Kentucky experiences it pretty much every night. So that's just life. Being ranked and obviously being one of the better teams in your league is you're going to get the other team's best shot. So you can't get too high, you can't get too low in this league, because some of the other teams in our league are fixing to find out, because they have some tough stretches coming up here pretty soon as well. That it's just really hard to win games, and you're going to get your opponent's best shot when you're around the top of the league.
5:00 SEC Network tip for Auburn at Georgia there in Athens Saturday. Coach, thank you very much for the time. We'll see you next week.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. That is Coach Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach of the Auburn Tigers, joins us this time each week. We greatly appreciate him doing that.